Hi there, welcome to Miller's Laboratory. My name is Sue and I'm glad you joined me today. I'm continuing to work on my 7 Pretty Journals series, and before I show you a couple of things in the books, I wanted to show you a little bit of ephemera that I've worked on this week. I kind of focused on using book pages, and so I had seen this video from Rachel at Roxy Creations that she made these little notebooks out of art book pages, and I just love that. I will link her video below. If you don't watch her, you should, because she's the queen of junk journals as far as I'm concerned. But these are just very simple. They're just pages that I took out of an art book. You can always find these at thrift stores. They're awesome. And I just made it into a trifold and put a few pieces of paper in here and stapled in the middle of that crease. So you can do a lot more to these. You could make some kind of a closure, like a slip piece of paper, you know, like a ring that you slide up, or you could make it tie with a ribbon. I just didn't want to take away from the paintings, so I didn't do anything else to those, but you definitely could put a label on there or whatever you like. And I'm sorry, I know these are really glary. These are really nice, heavy, glossy pages, but I worked on those this week. I'm going to set those aside. Then I also did, let's see, these little guys. So this is from a little tiny Shakespeare Macbeth book that I have. So that's the whole page. I just folded the top over a little bit. And this is just another little notebook with some pretty scraps of paper inside. Just kind of arranged them so that they look pretty when you look at it. And I added a piece of rice paper on the back, and then just folded the top page over and glued it, stapled it with a little bit of lace. So I've got all those, and then I added some more of those pretty little ladies that we used on some ephemera a few weeks ago. So there's those. Let's see. Now these next ones here, these images are from a gardening book that I had. I thought they were really pretty. I picked up the book just for those images, and then it's been sitting there, so I decided to use them. And all I did was cut them out and layer them onto just some brown craft paper, okay? And then that's just stapled up in the corner here to an envelope. This is a new envelope, but I coffee dyed it and added postage and stuff and writing so it would look older. And then this is just stapled in one spot here in the corner. So you can lift this up and write underneath. You can write on the back of it if you want to. And then you can also slip something inside. Now I may put something in there when I put them in the journals, or I might not. I'm not sure. I haven't decided yet. All right. Next I've got these tall sort of tags, and these are also made from book page. You can see it in the back. I'm using some of my pretty old book page here. For this one, I just folded it over onto some vintage ledger paper that was, it was written on the other side, but I used the blank side so that you can write on the back. Just layered a couple of papers over and added a pretty image on it. And then I put that little slit punch at the top. So I did all of those, and they're all similar. But not exactly the same. Okay, 2 more things. These are similar, so I did these first. So this was another one where I had this really pretty French book page, and I love the texture of this paper. It's crinkly and really nice. And I wanted to just make a fold over thing, so I had some more blank paper to hinge onto it. But when I put it on there, let me just show you. This is what it looked like. I hinged it on, and this paper was taller, and I thought, well, I kind of hate to just cut that off. So what I did is, now when you can write in here and then close it, and then you can close this little flap down and it will secure itself under this label. And then it sort of makes it look like just an envelope, and it does kind of keep this closed a little bit. so it's a little more private. So I have all of those that I embellished with these pretty bird images from the Graphics Fairy and just stamped on the labels. So we've got all of those. Okay. And then finally, I liked that idea, so I wanted to do it again with this pretty German paper that I have. And this is also a neat texture, very pulpy sort of paper. It's really cool. But this one, I'll just open it up. So you can see I used this pretty wreath image. That's also from the Graphics Fairy, and you just keep the top of it unglued so that you can tuck the flap underneath. Just added a label there, and again, this is just hinged onto some printed paper that I had. So, and I've got, you know, a few of those here too. So that's what I've been busy with part of the week, and I'll come back in a minute and show you a couple things in the books. All right, I pulled out this pretty green one today, and I'm just going to show you one thing that I'm going to do in here. I'm trying to show you different things. Obviously, I do a lot of the same things in all of the books, and I'm not going to show you every single thing in every single book because it's kind of boring. You'll get to see the whole thing when the books are completed and you get to see the flip through. So what I'm going to do here is a little bit like something I did last week, where I made a fold up, a flip with a vellum pocket underneath, and then underneath that flip there was some paper that would go down. This one I'm going to do 3-piece picture. So what I've done is I've selected a picture, and you could use whatever you like, and make it so that it's a little bit smaller than your page all the way around. This is a short page. And then you're going to divide it into thirds, and I've already done that. I've already folded it so that I can easily find it here on camera, and I'm going to go ahead and cut those apart right on the creases. This is a little thing that I did and posted on Instagram on a previous project, and a lot of people have seen it. It's really quick in that video, and so I just thought it's really cute, and I'll do it again here. It's nice to do on a page that doesn't really have any, like this page isn't really, if you could see all the grapes that would be kind of interesting, but it's just kind of a blob of dark. It's not anything special. All right, now these are just some plain papers that I folded in half, and I want to make these like it's a little fold up card. Okay, so I'm going to glue this right on here so it's right up to the edge of the fold, and then I'm just going to cut it out. So really easy here. We're going to do that with all 3 pieces. All right, gluing's all done. Now we'll just cut those out. Okay, that's that. Now we just need to make sure we put these in the right order. It goes like that. And we're going to glue them down to the page so that they kind of connect and become a complete picture again. I'm going to leave just a tiny bit of space in between each one, okay? So we'll line up where we think we want it to be. I'm just going to set my scissors there so those kind of stay in place, and we'll glue the bottom one first. And we're going to glue it. Okay, here's our little folded card. We're only going to glue the sides and the bottom. So what this is going to become is a pocket. All right, so we'll just center it and kind of put it right at the bottom of the page here. I'm just making sure it looks like it's straight with the edge of the page there. Good. All right, and then we'll do the next one. Looks like I have a little extra white here, and I'm going to just trim that off because I really don't want that showing. There. Okay. Just a tiny bit of space so that it still looks like a continuous picture, but there is a little space there so that people can see the space. And then we just have one more here. Perfect. Now this one, you can do it as a pocket, or if you want, you can just glue it down totally, whatever you prefer. I think I'm going to make mine a pocket. You can have something sticking out maybe a little bit. It kind of depends on how close you are to the top of the book and how much you would want to have something sticking out the top, I guess. So that's your choice. Okay, so now we have this picture, but it opens up. Each one is a little journaling spot, so you can write inside. It's kind of fun to have it divided like that if you wanted to have 3 separate distinct thoughts for some reason. And then, just grab a couple of tags here. And then each one is also a pocket, so you can have little tags sticking out like that. So, and that's it. Very simple. Simple idea, but very cute. All right. Now I'm going to grab another book and we'll do something else. For this, I wanted to revisit that split page idea. You guys were so kind with your comments on that and your suggestions, and I had a couple people suggest that we, instead of gluing that whole thing down, we would use it as a belly band, and I thought that was a great idea. So I have selected my paper for that, and I just happen to have this same brown construction paper in this book, so I'm going to use that page. And I've cut a couple of pieces of paper that go together. So what's important is that when you're looking at it this way, I think anyway, that it looks like a nice spread that all goes together. So it doesn't really matter what's on the back side, but I want this to all look like one seamless sort of image. Okay, so to make it sort of symmetrical, I think I'm going to divide this into 5. So I'll have 3 strips on one side and 2 on the other. And so we're going to grab our little ruler here and see if we can do that without too much trouble. So let me just see how tall that is, first of all. It is 6 inches, of course. If it was 5, that would be so much easier, wouldn't it? But it is 6, so we're going to do 1 inch plus not even a quarter, just a little bit less. And they don't have to be exact. I'm going to just make a little mark on here with a pen. And I'm going to do it about here, 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 here. We'll just do it. And you can cut these or you can tear them. I think I'm going to tear them because I like that sort of, if it's not perfect, then it looks like it was supposed to be that way. So just going to try to tear straight down here as good as we can. Just, it doesn't have to be perfectly straight, but you don't want it going haywire and going off to where you need to put your next strip is all. Kind of hard when you get down farther there, but that's good. easier now that I can get my hand around the end of the paper here. And one more. Good. This is so, so easy. There we go. We have like, reminds me of flags. And this one is definitely fatter than the others, but that's okay. All right. So I'm going to line up my paper here. And you can see this time I made my paper a little bit taller than this page was, so that when I put this over, you're still going to see a little bit of that on the top. And I think I'll do the 3 on the left and the 2 on the right. So this one's going to go over here like this, and this one's going to go over here like that. And I am going to just add a little bit of glue right here underneath, and then we'll also glue this end, and that will make it nice and secure. Really get that down in the gutter there. Good. Let's redo that one a little bit. Okay. So I didn't ask how is everybody doing. I didn't say too much chatting. We just jumped right in there. It is Sunday and it is kind of chilly here today. Only like 60 degrees when I got up this morning, which is kind of a big change from what we've been having. Although I'm not going to complain because it has been pretty hot and humid here, and that is not the most comfortable weather situation for me. So I don't mind too much. But yesterday was beautiful, just a beautiful, beautiful day. And we wound up going to an event down in Muskegon, Taste of Muskegon, which is really fun. They have all these different restaurants that come and set up booths, and you can try their food, and then they have live music, and they had a band that we really wanted to see, and they were really good. So we had a great time. We went with our friends, and really fun day. And now it's cold, and we're gonna have more of a a quiet day, I think, here at home. So I'm not sure how this is going to go. I may be done with these sort of videos where I'm like showing you what I'm putting in, because I feel like I don't want to be repetitive, and you guys don't need you don't need to see me do the same thing again. So I may just really try hard to get one of the journals done this week, and then next week I would have a flip through for you. We'll just see. You're just going to have to be patient and find out what happens. So it just depends on how my week goes and how much work I can get done. All right. And there it is. And that just folds over like that. Then you open the page, and we've got belly bands here and over here. That's not quite long enough to put through all 3. I could do it. There. Isn't that cool? Thanks for that great idea, you guys. Love it when you take something that I did and kind of riff on it. It's fun. Really fun. Okay. All right. I'm going to show you one more thing, so hang on and I'll be right back. Okay. This is our big fat green one. It's the thicker one. And I just wanted to make an interesting pocket in this one, and I thought it would be kind of cool to make it out of some ruffled paper. So this is just a trial that I did. This is just the painter's masking tape, which is a nice thin, not masking tape, masking paper. It comes on a roll. nice and thin, and I thought it would be good to try with. So I did it on, and I just attached it to this scrap of paper. And it's kind of fun how it does that. I wish I could figure out a way. Maybe I could figure out a way for that to be a pop-up, right guys? So speaking of that, I've had a couple people ask, I promised you a series on pop-ups for junk journals, and that is coming. I am putting things together for that, and I will be starting that, I think, as soon as I get this one done. I really feel like I need to devote my time to getting these books done first, but that is coming, so be patient, okay? So what this is just some strips of tracing paper. They're all the same width, and what I'm going to do is ruffle these, and there's no magic to this. You're just kind of doing like pleats. So I kind of fold down and then back up so it looks like that, and give it a crease, and then you do the same thing underneath there. It's a little bit awkward, but when you get in a groove you can really go to town on it. And this is how you make the little ruffles that you use like for paper edging, you know, like I use my little scraps for that and make really long rolls of ruffle. Here's the roll. Just stitch them with my sewing machine down the middle. But this one's not going to be stitched. So we're just going to keep folding back. You can just do that. Do it one step at a time if you want to, and then come back forward. It's just like a zigzag is all it is. Like that. And then I'm just going to attach another strip on there because obviously that isn't wide enough. And I do not worry if it's not perfectly straight. That's not what I'm going for. If you want that, you can certainly have that as a goal. That sounds really complicated to me, but it, you know, whatever you like. All right, and that one I'm just going to fold right in the middle because I don't think it matters. And then fold back. I'm just going to continue to do this, so I'll speed this up a little bit until I get it done. All right, there it is. It's lovely, like an accordion. Now I'm just going to go through and put a little dot under every one of those little pleats so it is holded down. A little dot of glue, sorry. Just a little dot. So it doesn't have to be very much, just enough to hold it. I'm going to do one side and then I'm going to do the other side. So the little sample that I showed you, the green paper, that one was only glued on one side, and that's why it would open up like that. It's a little easier. Okay, now we have this lovely sort of serpentine pleat, which I love. And now that these are glued together on both sides, you can treat these like a single piece of paper. I think to make sure our pocket stays secure, I think so that our stuff doesn't get stuck in the pleats when we put it in and out, I'm just going to go ahead on the back and put a little glue down here too, So everything is glued down nicely. This is a lot easier on this side because everything is already staying in place and I'm not having to pull or hold or anything. I'm just flipping it up and added the glue. Now you could take this and definitely run it through your sewing machine, and I think that would look really cool. I actually had my sewing machine out this morning and something's acting up. It's not wanting to work, and so I am not going to do mine, but you could do one, you could just do one seam down the middle, or you could do one down each side, whatever you like. Or you can do what I'm doing and do none of that. All right, now this is nice and long, so I could do a side tuck or a belly band. I'm kind of thinking a belly band because it's almost too wide for a side tuck to get in there. So, although I could put it on this side and just tuck it in like that. What do you think? I think that's what I'm going to do. I like that. I think that looks cool. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just glue it on, and then I'll come in and trim this off. So I'm going to slide that down a little bit so that that plain piece isn't so much there. And I'm just going to put my glue here. Oh, now of course it doesn't want to come out now. There, good. All along here. And up here. All right, it's kind of fun. It's making me think if you did big pleats, you could tuck little things in, little tags in, you know, several spots like that, if the pleats were wider. So that's giving me another idea. That's for another time. All right, let's cut this off. Flush with our page. I'm off camera a little bit there. Always make sure you're not cutting something underneath that you're not supposed to be. Always, always, always. Okay. Let's save that for something else. All right. And there we have that very cool looking side tuck. All right. All right, that's it for today. Thanks for joining me. I will see you next week. I hope you have a beautiful week, and I appreciate all of you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.